Greetings. Welcome to Dr. Neil's Spiritual Awakening to Non-Duality. This is Dr. Connie Zweig, and I'll be interviewing my husband who lives in spiritual awakening. You may have heard about this or read about it, but you may not know someone who lives it day to day. We'll be exploring how non-duality developed in Dr. Neil as I've observed it over 25 years, and as he directly experiences it every day. Each podcast will explore a different theme. We look forward to you joining us. Greetings. Today we're going to talk about subtle sources of knowing and try to explain a little bit about how Dr. Neil knows what he knows and the sources of his capacities. Hopefully, this will shed some light on some deeper insight into knowledge.
That's a good introduction. Thank you. So there's a great difference between knowledge that comes from the physical body, the five senses, and knowledge that comes from the divine, the absolute, the knower, the part of us that knows everything, or that it can know most things.
It's been called the source of all knowledge.
The source of all knowledge, or in religious terms, from the divine.
Well, theological terms, you mean God or Brahman.
Yeah, the knower of everything.
Creator.
God knows everything.
Okay.
So on the physical level, of course, we have five senses, or some people say 10, because they count orientation to time space. But we don't need to spend much time on that because that's pretty obvious for most people. Then the next level up is another body. It's called the astral body. And on the physical level, it's the source of emotion, sensuality, sexuality, and tells us something about the world that we're living in and what we're experiencing. So the many different emotions, sadness, happiness, grief, despair, joy, are all aspects of the second body, the astral body. The next body upwards is the mental body, which is more rational, logical, integrating perceptions. Good example would be, I saw at one point a ship, and the ship was sailing in a certain direction, and the mental body uses logic to project where the ship will be next and its existence. The next is the Buddhic, or the heart. The heart is the source of empathy, sympathy, caring, kindness, lovingness for humanity, and gives us knowledge that comes from something more than the physical world. The next one is, in Indian terms, the Atmic body. And the Atmic body is located at the throat, is connected to the physical body at the throat, and is a source of intuition, knowledge about the world, and comes to us spiritually. Not everybody knows about this source of knowledge, but it can tell us a great deal about life. Then we move up to the third eye, which is the psychic body. When I say the third eye, I mean the representation of the psychic body on the physical level, on the energetic level. So the third eye has all the physical senses: sight, but subtle sight; hearing, but subtle hearing; hearing that's much more subtle than the physical body. So it has all the physical senses and psychics will tell you something exists because they feel it, because they hear it, because they see it, because they know it's there. But it's perceptually real, but not to the physical eye, to the subtle eye, to the soul's eye. And then we get to the more celestial body and cosmic body, which is located, the cosmic body is located everywhere. And so it can perceive and know things that are vast, far away, and very close and small. And we can look at this a little bit more detail later on.
So let me see if I'm understanding this.
Mm-hmm.
When we speak in popular vernacular about the aura, which body is that?
Everybody has an aura. So the aura is a energetic field that is determined or produced by the physical body, the astral body, the mental body, and so on. So each body has an energy field around it, and it becomes more and more expanded as we get more and more subtle.
So the aura is kind of a generic term to refer to all these fields?
Yes.
Okay. So at what point do these fields become less personal? I mean, when you say the cosmic body is everywhere, that doesn't sound like it's my aura.
No, it's not your personal aura. As soon as we reach the heart or the anahata, by this I mean the heart body, we are already reaching into post-human development. So it requires specific training. For example, a psychotherapist would need to learn to witness themselves and the person who is their patient or client so that they don't confuse the two. Needs to have empathy for the client so they can feel the client's feelings without losing themselves. Needs to actually be kind, despite the fact they may not feel kind. But this is the function of the heart. So to explain where the heart body is important, why is it spiritual? It's because the development of compassion, empathy, kindness is post-average human development.
Post-conventional.
Conventional development. So one cannot say most people experience this. However, if you're a therapist, you should be trained to develop these capacities, these senses, and these ways of functioning in the world. Does that become clearer?
So you mentioned earlier these vehicles, that there were all these subtle bodies. One of them was the Buddhic body, which you said is related to the heart center.
Yeah, the Buddhic body is basically the heart body, what we've been talking about now.
And so most people in their psychological and spiritual development don't get to this stage of cultivating the heart chakra or the heart body.
That's correct. And my example that I gave of a therapist is because it's traditionally about cultivating the heart or the Buddhic body. And so that one develops the senses of empathy and caring and objectivity. So empathy gives you a source of knowledge. Some in physics, they talk about the mirror neurons that exist in the heart as well as the brain. That means that you experience somebody else's emotions, thoughts, world, caring, because you relate to them. And that's what the Buddhic body does. It's also the sort of beginning where the sense of separateness and connectedness with other people dissolves. It starts to dissolve.
Oh, so the beginning of non-duality happens here.
Beginning of non-duality happens with the Buddhic body.
Well, in another podcast, we're going to explore the chakras, but just as an aside, these bodies are affiliated with the chakras. So when we're saying the astral body and the Buddhic body as sources of knowing, the kind of popular way of talking about that is the plane that's associated with each chakra. So we're going up these levels here, the heart chakra, and you mentioned the Atmic body at the throat as a different source of knowing.
Correct.
What's that about?
That's about intuition, about connection with animals and the planet, and not a great source of knowledge. One is better off jumping to the third eye.
The throat is not a great source of knowledge. The Atmic body. How do you spell Atmic?
Atmic.
Okay. Is that related to Atma? Atman?
It's related, but not directly.
Okay. So
how does a person who is psychic, in other words, perceiving things as a soul, and perceiving things through the third eye, these senses from the third eye are all higher levels of physical senses. So a psychic would be able to see with the third eye, see the energy.
So when we say clairvoyant, they're seeing, but not with their physical eyes.
Correct. Or hearing, clairaudient.
Right.
Hearing with the inner ear. Or feeling energy. One feels the energy of another person or an animal. And that comes from the sensitivity of that body.
So what is your experience of this source of knowing, the third eye?
The third eye allows me to look through and see energy field. But I haven't focused particularly on the third eye because the Brahman, the divine perception, actually includes the third eye. Gives you actually the capacity to know things beyond the third eye.
It transcends it and includes it.
Transcends it and includes it. That's a great way of putting it.
Thank you, Ken Wilbert.
Thank you, Ken Wilbert.
So because this hasn't been a focus for you, but a few podcasts ago, we spoke about learning the pendulum.
Yes.
And getting access to knowledge in this way that you first thought was psychic, and then you realized it wasn't that.
Yes.
It was something else. So is that related to what you're talking about now?
Yes. The source of knowledge came from the knower. The knower is that aspect of who we are that knows everything.
Oh, so this was not about the third eye, the knower, the pendulum.
The pendulum was about Brahman, about the divine. But I didn't realize that till later on in the development of my capacity, or until it got labeled by a guru.
Okay, so we're now at the celestial or cosmic body. Are those two different ones, or are they the same?
Well, the celestial body is one where one connects with other enlightened beings, and the cosmic body connects with everything.
And what's your experience?
My experience of the cosmic body is that I can ask myself a question about something and know whether it's true or false. I can actually perceive beyond the limits of the personal world.
So how do we know that's not just a hunch?
That's a good question. when I was practicing as a psychologist, I used to do a reading, what I called a reading, which was a perceptual analysis from a psychic or a Brahman level, or both, of the patients that were coming to see me. And then once they walked in the door, I would analyze with my mind and emotions and empathy whether that perception was true, was real. And so I got to verify, scientifically speaking, the accuracy of the knower, of Brahman, of the divine insight.
Can you give us an example?
Well, that is an example. The
No, a particular patient.
particular patient. No, I would do it for most of my patients. Tammy was a patient who came to see me, who I analyzed as having an anxiety disorder that started when she was 3 years old, because of a trauma that happened with her mother dying. So there was awareness and insight, and I also got the importance of being a holding source for her, being a mother kind of figure to help her heal this wound and actually direct her to addressing the pain and suffering that she was holding on to.
So was this before you met her?
Yes.
So before she walks in there, because you said analyze, I think that's not what you meant. So you meant that you directly perceived something about her before you met her.
Correct.
And then she came to see you, and what happened?
And all of those facts became verified. The fact that her mother died when she was 3, the fact that she was traumatized, the fact that she felt she wasn't held and cared for, and that the healing happened because I was doing that for her and helping her to face the pain.
So the diagnosis and the treatment came from knowing.
Yes. Well, the training of myself as a psychologist was very important in verifying the subtle realms, because I could actually analyze what was happening on a physical, emotional, mental level, and the history of where it came from.
So that's a really practical application of this direct knowing.
Yes.
And it sounds like it's really affected your career.
It affected my career until I got to the point where I would act it out rather than analyze it.
What does that mean?
Well, when a person came to see me, I wouldn't do a reading or an analysis before they walked in the door. I knew intuitively what the right behavior was.
So the intuition moved into action. You didn't need to actually do a reading first.
Correct. So speaking became automatic. So I would say what was needed.
And the speaking was from the knower.
Speaking is from the knower. And that has really moved myself into that aspect of reality, speaking from the knower.
So this is kind of a detour, but in a way, your doing therapy became a practice for you because it opened this opportunity to explore and develop and expand this capacity.
Yes. In fact, there's no part of life, my life, that has not been directed towards waking up and becoming more realized. It all fits together in a systematic way. And this started with my previous lifetime.
I would say that's true of our marriage as well. It was really part of your waking up.
That's true.
So I think that's for another podcast. We'll look at how your non-dual experience was supported by the way that you lived your life.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found our discussion insightful, there's a good chance your friends will too. And we'd love it if you could take a moment to share this episode with a friend who you believe would appreciate it. Help us spread the word and reach more people. And follow us on any platform. Turn on your episode notifications so you never miss new content. Thanks for being part of our podcasting journey.